Bruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Nun Vav Amud Beis, 4 lines from the top. The Gemara continues discussing dreams and their interpretations. In line with the principle Kol HaCholoimois Holchim Achar HaPeh, the way that the dream is interpreted, that's how the dream will be. Explains the Gemara different types of dreams and their interpretations. Shaul ben Damo ben Achoiso Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael's nephew asked the following: Ra'isi shnei lechayoi shenashu. I saw in a dream that my 2 jaws, they fell off. Omar shnei gidudei roimi ya'atsu alecho ro umesu. 2 platoons of Roman platoons, they tried making advice against you for bad and they died. In other words, their lips, their mouth, their jaw that spoke against you got them to then be endangered to ultimately be killed. Omar le bar kapora Rebbe. Bar kapora asked Rebbe the following: Ra'isi choitmi shenoshar. I saw my nose and it fell off in a dream. Omar le Rebbe said to bar kapora charon af nistalek mimcha. Your anger will then be removed from you. Charon af is a reference to when a person gets angry, then he breathes very much and his nose becomes heated up. That will be removed from him. Omar le ra'isi shnei yodai shenechtechu. Says Bar Kapar to Rebbe, I saw in a dream 2 hands of mine, both my hands, that they were chopped off. They're cut off. Omar le lo titztarech lemaisi yadecha. The dream means to say that you will not need your Maisa Yadayim, you're going to be independently wealthy. Omar le ra'isi beis ragloi sheniktehu. I saw my 2 legs, says Bar Kapara to Rebbe, they were cut off. Omar le al sus ata roichev. You're going to ride a sus, which was considered to be a very prestigious type of thing. Chazoi da amri li ba'adar misas V'nisan lochazis. I saw in a dream that they said to me, in Adar you will die, and in Nisan you will not see. Omar le Rebbe explained to Bar Kapara the following interpretation: Ba'adrusa misas. Your death will going to be with a hadar, with a type of kavoid. V'lo asis lidei Nisan. You're not going to come to Nisan. In other words, he interpreted Adar as not the month of Adar, but Hadar from Lashon of Hadar. And not Nisan as the month of Nisan, but the Lashon of Nisayon. And therefore you will not have a Nisan come to you, a difficult challenge. The Gemara continues and explains there was a Tzeduki, somebody who held by the Torah Sheba'al Peh, but did not follow the Torah Sheba'al Peh. And he was somebody, therefore, was koifer in the Chachamim. He said to Rabbi Yishmael, Ra'isi shani mashke shemen lezeisim. He said, I saw in a dream that I was pouring shemen onto zeisim. Omalei bo al imoy. He said to him in 3rd person that he was together in an incestual relation with his mother. Because, after all, the zayis contains the shemen. The shemen comes out from the zayis. And here he's turning the shemen onto the zayis. It's a reference to Baal Imoy. Omalei chazoi, in a dream, the kotif li koichova, that I plucked a star in my dream. Omalei bar Yisrael ganavta, you kidnapped a Jew. The Jewish people are compared to kolchovim, to the stars. There are as many as the stars, the Torah says, in different places. I saw in a dream that I swallowed the star. Bar Yisrael zavante you sold the Jew that you kidnapped, and you then consumed the money that you got for that. I saw in a dream that my eyes were kissing each other. He said to him that he was another incestual relation, that he came upon his sister. I saw in my dream that the moon was kissing. Omalei bo al Eshes Yisrael. The moon is a reference to a woman who gets the light of the sun. The sun represents the husband, the father, who gives his light to his wife, and she then takes the light, as the moon is going to take the light from the sun. Just like in Yosef's dream, it was interpreted as the sun and the moon. Sun referring to Yaakov Avinu, his father, and the moon, he thought Rachel. Some say in Chazal it was Bilhah. Omalei Chazoy de Derichna Betuna Da'asa. He said that I was Dorech, that I was stepping on the shadow of a myrtle, of a hadas. Omalei Boal Ga'aro Al Nara Hamurasa. Since the myrtle, the hadas, they used to make chuppah with the myrtles, and that's how they make the chuppah. So a woman who was only an arusa, before she was coming into the chuppah, it was only a shadow, is a reference to him being Bo al Nara Hamuras, a very stringent type of thing. Omalei, like the others as well. Omalei Chazoi Tuna Me Iloi Vehu Metatoi. I saw in my dream that the shadow was above me and the myrtle was beneath me. The hadas was beneath me. Omalei Mishkavu Hafach. This is a reference to that you flipped over your bed. His bed was flipped over, meaning to say that the relation that he had with the Nar Marasa was in a hafuch way. Omalei Chazoi Urve Dahadre Lepurye. I saw in my dream that Arvim, ravens, they surrounded my bed. Omalei Ishtecha Zonsa Me Anoshim Harbe. Your wife was mezana with many men. An Orov, the raven, is said by Chazal that in the Teva, where no other animal, and certainly nobody from Noach and his family were to have relations, but the Orov did have relations during that year in the flood. He says, I had a dream, the Tzeduki said, I had a dream that the doves were encircling my bed. Omalei noshim harbe tamesa. You were metame many women by being with them. Omalei chazoy denaki treyoini uparachu. I was holding on to two doves and they flew away. Omalei, the interpretation is tarti nishei nasavta upatrisnan below get. That you married two women, but you didn't let them go with a get. You made them leave without a get. Omalei chazoy de kalifna boy. I saw in a dream that I was taking a egg and I was mekalef. I was taking off the peel, peeling the beitza, the egg. Omalei shachve komesh lachas. He said that you are flaying the skin of others. Amalei kulu isnahu bi. All of these things that you said in your interpretation were accurate. This is what the Tzeduki said back to Rabbi Shmuel. Bar mehad lese, except for the last one, that last interpretation of flailing the skin of those who are dead, those dead bodies. Adahochi vahochi. Meanwhile, Asya hai itzisa, a woman came. Meanwhile, va'amra lay, and she said to him, "Hai glima de machases de gavra plonihu." This glima, this garment that used to cover this person, the mace ve'ishtalachte, that he was dead and you took it away from him. That means that you stripped it off of him. In other words, the reason why the Tzeduki denied before, because he thought he meant flayed, that he flayed the skin off the dead body. And that he said never happened. But indeed the interpretation was that he stripped the clothes off a dead body. And that indeed was proven to be true by this woman who entered and said that garment belongs to the man who was dead that you stripped off that garment from. Omalei chazoi da amri li shovak loch avuch nichse bekapudikya. She said that I saw in a dream that people were saying that you left over, your father left over nechasim, property in the city of Kaputikia. Omalei isloch nichse bekaputikia. Rabbi Shmuel asked the Tzeduki, do you have property in Kaputikia? Omalei lav, I don't. Ozel avuch lekaputkia. Did your father go to the city of Kaputkia? Amalei lav. Was he buried there? Not. Also, imkain kafa. So Rabbi Shmuel takes the word Kaputkia and he breaks it down. Kapa is kishura. It refers to a beam. Dika refers to asara. Zil chazi kapa the darish. The darish asara shayamalei zuz. And he said to him that go on top of the beam, on the 10th beam, and there you'll find in your home on the 10th beam full of zuzi. That's what the interpretation of this kaputkia refers to. A play on the words kapa and deka. And referring to the 10th beam, that's where you'll find a lot of wealth, a lot of money. Ozil, indeed, the Tzeduki went, Eshkach shehi malaya zuzah, it was filled with money. Omer Reb Chanina, now the Gemara goes on to say, Omer Reb Chanina haraya be'er bechaloim roye shalom. If a person sees a be'er, a well in a dream, so he will then see also shalom. He'll be afforded shalom in his life. Shenemar, this is vayachbaru avde yitzchok. Benachal v'yimtzu shom be'er mayim chayim, and it goes on to say that after he dug, although there was different types of fights, ultimately they dug, and there was no fighting. There was shalom. Rabbi Nosson Omer Matzah Torah. He found Torah. When he sees this dream, it's a dream reference to Torah. Shneimar ki motzei metzah chayim. Somebody who finds me is finding life. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, you find me, you find Torah, you find life. That's Torah. That's what Chaim is referring to. When you find me, it's Torah. V'ksiv hocha be'er mayim chayim. It says in the Pasuk, be'er mayim chayim, a reference to Torah. Rova amar chayim mamish. It refers to life itself. And therefore the be'er is a reference to life. Three different interpretations. Either, one, be'er is a reference to shalom, or it's interpreted as Torah, or it's interpreted as Chaim, as life. Omer Rav Chanan shloimois hein. There are three shloimois that are found. Nahar, Tzipor, Ukedeira. Nahar, a river, Tzipor, a bird, and Kedeira, a kettle. Nahar, as the Pasuk says, Dichsiv, Hineni noite elea kenar shalom. Behold, I'll extend to him a nar of shalom. Tzipor, a bird, Dichsiv kitziporim ofois. Ken yagin Hashem tzvokos. Just like birds that fly, so too HaKadosh Baruch Hu will protect. And therefore, again, a reference to the shalom. Kedeira, the kettle, Dichsiv Hashem, Tishpois shalom lonu. Hashem will set forth shalom for us. So the bird, the kettle, and the river is a reference to shalom. When anybody sees a dream of any of these things, it's a reference to shalom. Omer Reb Chanina upekedeira she'ein bo basar shaninu. However, you should know that the kedeira, the kettle, we're talking about when there is no basar. Uparsu, as it says in the pasuk, uparsu ka'asher basir ukebasar betoich kalachas. And therefore he says, you have sliced, it's a reference, you have sliced in the seer, in the pot, like basar that was sliced in a calderon. And therefore, if it's only without meat on this, a reference to this kedeira with this kettle, only there is it shalom, otherwise it's the opposite. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, haroye Nahar bechaloim yashkim v'yomar. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi is going to teach us that although we said the way a dream is interpreted, there's always two different types of psukim that one can say that would have the implication one positive, one negative. And very often, if a person is not careful, he says the negative pasuk, that can have the wrong interpretation. Therefore, a person should be careful to say the positive pasuk right away, and even though there is a negative pasuk that will then correspond, it will then preempt that, and the interpretation will be a positive one. Says the Gemara. A person who sees a nahar, going back to the three things that we just mentioned, a nahar, a tzipor, and a kidera, he should say the following pasuk first. Hineni noite ele kenar shon, like we brought before. Koidem sheyikdemenu pasuk acher, before another pasuk conjures up in his mind, ki yavo kenahar tsar, which is a reference to tsaros, and that would be the opposite of shalom. Harei tzipor bechaloim yashkim v'yoymar b'kitzipor afois ken yalgein Hashem, like we brought from the pasuk before, a reference to shalom. Koidem sheyikdemenu pasuk acher, before another pasuk comes up in his mind, kitzipor noidois min kone, just like the tzipor that wanders from its kana, from its nest, the opposite of shalom. Harei kedera bechaloim yashkim v'yom, he should get up early and say the following verse. Hashem tishbois shalom lanu, like we brought before. Hashem sets forth shalom for us. Koidem sheyikdemenu pasuk acher, before he brings any other pasuk that has the opposite connotation. Shefois hey seer shefois, that refers to the siege of Yerushalayim. If you put forth the seer and put forth, again, the opposite of shalom. The Gemara now brings other things that a person can see in a dream, that he should be careful to say the positive pasuk before the other pasuk is conjured up in his mind, and he says that haroye anovim bechalom, a person who sees grapes in a chalom, in a dream, yashkim v'yoyim, I should say the following pasuk, ka'anovim bamidbar. That refers to the midbar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu refers to Klal Yisrael, who took them out of Mitzrayim and is into the midbar. It's a positive connotation. Koidem sheyikdemenu pasuk acher, anivei moy invei roish, refers to the anovim of the wicked deeds of the Jewish people. Haroya har bechaloim yashkim v'yoymar, a person sees a har, a mountain, in a dream, he should get up early and say the following verse. Manovu al hehorim, how pleasant are the harim, are the mountains. Ragle mivaser, they're going to then mivaser, they're going to then call out and let known the geula, the besura toiva. Koidem sheyikdemenu pasuk acher, instead of saying the other pasuk haleharim esa bechi v'nehi, that the harim, the mountains that are going to become taken by the enemy of Yehuda and Yerushalayim, with bechi and nehi, with cry and with screaming. Haroya shofar bechaloim, a person who sees a shofar in a chalom. Yashkim v'yoymar v'haya bayimahu yitoka b'shofar gadol. He should say the pasuk yitoka b'shofar gadol, a reference to the geula. Koidem sheyikdemenu pasuk acher, before it's conjured up in his mind the following verse, Taku shofar begiva, which announces the destruction of Yerushalayim. Haroye kelev bechaloim, a person who sees a dog in his dream. Yashkim v'yom, should get up early and say, Ulechol b'nei Yisrael lo yecharotz kelev l'shoinoi, the pasuk that's referenced to when we left Mitzrayim, that not even a dog opened up its mouth and barked when we left Mitzrayim. Koydin shikdemenu pasuk acher, instead of saying another pasuk, v'haklovim azei nefesh, and the klovim are azei nefesh, referring to the wicked ones, the wicked aristocrats of the Jewish people. Haroya ari b'chaloim, a person who sees a lion in his dream. Yashkim v'yomer arye shoag milo yire, referring to the shog of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Should a person not tremble? Koydin shekdemenu pasuk acher, before he says another pasuk, ale arye mesubchoi, referring to the arye of the Babylonians that left its den, that went up from its den. Haroya tigalachas bechaloim, a person who sees him being shaven in a dream. Yashkim v'yom, should get up and say, vayigalach vayachalef simloisov, referring to Yosef HaTzadik, who was called to Paro and asked before Paro to then, he was shaven and he was cleaned before he presented himself before Paro, which was a very positive time where he ultimately interpreted the dreams and became the viceroy of Mitzrayim. Before saying another verse, in Galachti Vesami Meni Koichi, a reference to Shimshon Hagibor, who had all of its strength when he revealed that strength, that all of his strength is in his hair, that it shouldn't be shaven. So that was something that was ultimately his downfall. A person who sees a well in his dream, he should say Be'er Mayim Chaim, the pasuk that we said before. Before another verse is stated. Kihokir Bayir Meimeho, like the waters of the well, so too she takes also her evil. A person who sees a reed in his dream, he should get up early and say, Kona rotzoitz lo yishbor. There was a reed that is bent or is broken, it should not become broken. Before saying another verse, Hine batachta lecha al mishenes hakone haroitzes. This is referring to a reference to Chizkiah HaMelech, who trusted in his alliance together with the Mitzrim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that was an error. Ton Rabbanon, the Gemara now brings a brisa in regards to kana and dreams. We just said if a person sees a kana, a reed in his dream. So now there's a play on the words. Haroye kana bechaloim, a person who sees a kana, a reed in his chalom. The word reed is kana. Yitzape lechachma. He shall then expect for chachma, wisdom. Shenema says knei chachma. So a reed, kana, and knei sound the same. Kanim, if he sees reeds, again the word kanim, yitzape lebina, he should then look forward to expect bina, understanding. Shenema says b'chol kinyanecha kana bina. Again, a play on the words of kana, he shall acquire then bina, understanding, which is many types of understanding. Amar Rabbi Zera, kara kore, a gourd is a craw, kore, and palm shoots, kore, wax, or kira rather, wax, kanya, reed. They all have the type of sounding, kula ma'alu chalma. They all have a positive connotation in a dream. If a person sees a craw, a gourd, or he sees palm shoots, or wax, or a reed, they all have a positive connotation. Tanya, the Brisa says, Ein marin deluin, el lemishahu yare shamayim bekol koichoi. A person is not shown gourds in his dream unless he has tremendous amount of yirah shamayim. Haraya shor bechaloim, a person who sees a shor, an ox in his dream, Yashkim Yomi should say the following verse. Bechor shoroi hodar lo, reference to Yosef HaTzadik. Koidem sheikdemenu posuk achar, before another verse is stated, Ki yigach shor es ish, that the shor, it's gored a person. Ton Rabbanon chamisha dvorim ne'emu b'shor. There are 5 things that are stated in regards to a shor. Ha'oichel bebisaro, if one has a shor that eats its basar, misasher, he's going to be then, in his chalom, he sees that he eats his basar, is going to be a reference to wealth. Nogchoi, he sees that the shor is nogeach in the chalom. Havion leibonim shemenagchim b'Torah, is going to be foretelling that he'll have children that are nogeach, they're going to gore in their melchemes haTorah. In a positive way, that means they're going to learn Torah by making sure that they understand and ask questions and going back and forth by goring, so to speak, one to the next. Noshchu, if he sees that the ox bites in the dream, Yisurim bain alav, is going to show that he will have suffering in his lifetime. Be'atu, if he sees that the shore kicks in the dream, derech rechoika nizdamnaloi, he's going to then have a long journey ahead of him. Rochvoi, if he sees that he's riding the chamor, oila legedula, it's a reference that he's going to go up in greatness, in gedula. I asked the Gemara, V'hatanya rachvoy meis, that a person who rides the chamor, it's referring to that he's going to die. Lo kasha. Haderachiv hu letura. Haderachiv tura ledidei. When he's riding the tour, then when he's on top of the shore, then it's a reference to Gedula. When the shore is on top of him, then Chalila, it's a reference to Misa. Says the Gemara, Haroye chamor bechaloim. If a person sees a donkey in his dream, Yitzape li Yeshua, then he should expect to see Yeshua. Shenemar hine malkech yavoy lecha tzadik v'noishahu. Ani v'roichev al chamor, reference to Mashiach, who's going to be humble and riding on the chamor. Haroye chatul bechaloim, a person who sees a cat in a dream, be'asra dekoru le shunra, nasis loy shira noeh. If it's in a place where they refer to the cat as shunra, then they will sing to him a pleasant song. Shinra, if they call it a shinra, however, nasilo shinoi ra, it's going to be causing him a bad change. Haroya anovim bechalom, a person who sees grapes in his dream, livanois, if it's white, bein bizman and bein shelo bizman and yofos, then it's going to be good. Shicharois, if it's black, however, bizman and yofos, if it's in its seasonal time, then it'll be yofos. Shelo bizman and then rois. Haroya sus lovan bechaloim, if he's going to see a white horse in his dream, bein benachas bein beroduf, whether it's walking or it is galloping, yafeloi, it'll be good for him. Adoim, if it's going to be a red horse, benachas yafe beroduf kosher, if it is walking, then it's going to be pleasant, good for him. However, if it's going to be roduf, it's going to be galloping in his dream, then it's going to be kosher. Haroy yishma bechaloim tfilosu nishmaas. If he sees Yishmael in his dream, he will then know that his tfilos will be answered. After all, Yishmael is the name of Yishmael. Says the Gemara, V'davka Yishmael ben Avram, aval tayo be'almaloi, but a regular Arab not. It has to be Yishmael bedavka, the son of Avram, that he sees in a dream. Then his tfilos will be answered. Haroye gamal bechaloim misa niknesolo min hashamayim v'hitzilu mimeno. A person who sees a gamal, he sees a camel in his dream, then he should know that it was a decreed upon him misa from shamayim, and they saved him and retracted that gezerah. Rabbi Chamya beRabbi Chanina Mikro. What's the verse that supports this? Anochi ered imoch Mitzrayim. Hashem says to Yaakov Avinu, I'm going to be with you when you go down to Mitzrayim. V'anochi eloch gam ole, and I also will go up. Gam ole is a reference to the gamal. Gam alo, gamal. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchok Omar mehach, a different verse that has a reference, a remez to the gamal. Gam Hashem hevir chatoscha loy tamus. Here, gamlo is also the word in Aramaic for gamal, for a camel. So it says gam, and then a few words later it says lo. So gam Hashem hevir chatoscha lo tamus. So the gam lo is a reference to then that David HaMelech was told he's not going to die by the Navi Nasan. The Navi Nasan, he told David HaMelech that he will not die, and indeed he didn't die as a result of the tshuva that he did. Haroya Pinchas bechalom, a person who sees Pinchas in a dream, who had many miracles that were performed for him when he did that act of taking the roimach in his hand. So pelo naseloi, it'll be a pelo, it'll be wondrous things that will occur to that person who's having that dream and sees Pinchas. Haroya pil bechaloim, a person who sees an elephant in his chaloim. Plois nasuloi. It's a play on the word peel. He'll have plos. He'll have wondrous things that will be done for him. Pilim, if he sees many different pilim, many different elephants, then pile plos nasulo. Then he's going to have many and many wondrous acts that will be performed for him. I asked the Gemara V'hatanya. It says in the Brisa, Komine chayos yafin lechaloim. Many types of animals are going to be a good portent in a dream, chutz min hapil or min hakoif, with the exception of a peel, an elephant, and a koif, a monkey. Says Gemara, lo kashya had the misareg, had lo misareg. This is when it's saddled, and this is when it's not saddled. When the elephant is saddled, it'll be considered to be yafeh. It'll be something, will be pilei plos. He'll see ploim in the future. Wondrous acts for him. However, if it's going to be without being saddled, then the elephant that he sees in his dream will indeed be something that will be negative chas v'shalom.